Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Musical People and Journeys, the rock show, special rock show, because an interview special, because tonight we have Louis, is it Louis? Louis? How is it?
Yeah, no, it is. You're right, Louis.
Louis
Malagodi.
Louis Malagodi, what a great name. From the wonderful, amazing Collateral, who we reviewed and give a massive thumbs up to their wonderful album the other day. So Malagodi, where's that from? That's not a British name, is it? But you are from Britain, from the UK.
Well, yeah. Well, my granddad is Italian,
right?
So it's yeah. So it's my family name, but I don't identify as Italian, especially not when the football's on.
No, we won't go into that.
Maybe sometimes in an Italian restaurant I might identify as Italian, but
absolutely.
No, I am English.
And so the band I believe is all kind of English as well. You're a British band, is that right?
Yeah. Everyone. Well, I think everyone was born in England.
Yeah.
And we all live in Kent currently.
Now, people looking at your website and having reviewed you, you've been on a very interesting journey, shall we say. But before we kind of reveal, if the people that don't know that journey that you've been on, I want to ask you a very specific question. What led you guys down to the type of rock music that you currently play, and how would you describe that the genre of rock that you excel in?
Well, that's always the interesting question, because we never know how to answer it. Well, I guess if you're talking about Should Have Known Better, which is the latest album, it's, I don't know, it's just rock. Like some of it's hard rock, some of it's a bit lighter. You know, it's when we write songs, we don't go, we are this genre, so we play this style. It's just whatever's good to us is good. You know, that's it really. The first album, which I didn't play on, it was before I was in the band. That one's probably more in the sort of 80s rock sort of. It's got more of the 80s vibes.
And is that something that you yourself were kind of brought up on? Is that where you were your kind of roots are from? Because so just for everybody, you are is it your bass guitarist or lead guitarist in the band?
I'm the only guitar player in the band.
You're the only guitar player. Wow.
Well, Angelo plays acoustic, but
right.
Yeah. I was rhythm guitar for a bit when Todd was in the band. Now I'm just the only guitar player. I mean, 4 people is less money to split than 5. At one point we had 6.
Really?
Imagine that. Yeah. God.
Was somebody playing the trumpets?
We had a keyboard player, which was a failed experiment. Lovely guy, but failed experiment.
Failed experiment.
Yeah.
So
less is more.
I think so.
So the journey you've been on then is that you were selected, or you entered a competition in order to support Bon Jovi on their tour. Is that right? Is that best how to describe it? Or
it was a competition to open for Jon Bon Jovi on the Jon Bon Jovi cruise.
Right.
And that was great fun. I went. This was before I was playing guitar in the band. I went as a sound engineer.
Right.
Wow.
That was great fun. Yeah.
So
I had so little responsibility.
About 200 bands or something entered. Is that right?
Yeah. It was good. Yeah.
And how did you guys do? Well, did you know how that came about and how they managed to enter something like this, or was it just like NME or something, or what?
Nah, it's all about, I don't know, you see it on the internet and then you just get people to vote. That's how most of these things happen these days.
So and
if you've got a good following on Facebook, then you can sort of wriggle your way into these things.
So do you feel that so let's ask the question then. Do you think that your music in any way has Jon Bon Jovi in its DNA?
Well, I mean, look, every bloody every bloody review has said this sounds like this, blah 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 blah. It's just like, if you're asking me personally, then I mean, I haven't listened to Bon Jovi since I was 14. I mean, who has? But no, No, I mean, there's nothing wrong with Bon Jovi, really. I mean, I liked it when I was a teenager, but a little bit. I mean, but if you ask me, does it influence my writing now? You know, maybe somewhat, but for the amount that it's mentioned, it's sort of off the scale, really. I mean, Angelo loves Bon Jovi. That's why I hate them.
I think you get on well with Chris, don't you, Nige?
He would, yeah. Chris, one of our reviewers, absolutely. Well, we went in.
One of our reviewers,
we're reviewing an actual fact. It's very, very interesting, isn't it? Because during my kind of listening, I went like, "My God, is this?" Because I knew we were going to be reviewing Bon Jovi's new album actually this weekend. So, and I'm going to myself, "Oh my God, are these guys the support act?" And I didn't know at the time your journey. Is this a support act for Bon Jovi? Or will they be the main act? Because my expectations, when a band such as Bon Jovi kind of release an album after so many years, typically in our experience, it's not great. So my expectations were kind of low. And actually listening to it, I actually quite enjoyed the album. It's not too bad.
Whereas our roles reversed on that, didn't they?
But your album and his new album are chalk and cheese. There is no similarity whatsoever. None whatsoever. I would say, and I listened to the album again, I would say there are some elements of early Bon Jovi, like from Tokyo Road, and some of the melodies that are in there. There is something there, but I would say that it's more inspired your kind of music, because like what I find is that your type of music, a lot of people say, oh, we're keeping AOR alive and we're keeping the torch flying, and and new wave British metal, we're keeping that sort of level, and when we tend to interview people, it's like these bands are, you've not said that by the way, so I'm not putting pigeonhole in there, but I listen to about 80 albums or a track from about 80 albums to narrow it down to 16, and there's a lot of generic rock, what I call generic 80s style rock out there, and you guys, I think, have taken what I call the generic rock or inspired by it, but brought it very much into the modern world, and the production and the quality stands out from the rest. So it's no surprise that you guys are actually burning quite brightly at the minute in terms of the press and stuff that you're getting. Would that be a fair analogy, maybe? I don't know. I mean, what am I?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like, Bon Jovi gets mentioned so much. It's just because, I mean, but Bon Jovi aren't the only band that have done rock with a sort of pop influence. I mean, I mean, Brian Adams probably a way bigger influence on me than Bon Jovi has ever been. Brian Adams, when I was 15, 14, 13, couldn't stop listening to it. So, yeah, I think so. I mean, we haven't been called generic rock.
No. I'm not bracketing you,
which is good.
I don't think you are generic rock. I'm just saying that a lot of people who base their style on it as 80s rock would be kind of more generic, and they. I know
what you're saying.
And they keep this alive. I would not. I wouldn't put you. I think your album is nice and diverse. I think there is some 80s style rock in there, but there's also more heavy metal in there. There's a little bit of everything, and you mix it really well, which is why bands like you kind of stand out, really. And for all of us to agree pretty much across the board about how good the album was, which takes a lot for us lot to agree, doesn't it? So when did you? At what age did you start learning the guitar then? And was Brian Adams that main inspiration for you to pick that guitar up, or was it your parents?
Jimi Hendrix all the way. I had a babysitter, and he picked up a guitar that my dad bought for me yonks before, maybe a couple of years before, maybe when I was like 10. He played Voodoo Child's Slight Return, and I was just like, what's that? I need that, whatever that is. And then it was just Hendrix, and then it was Cream, and then it was Deep Purple, and then
wow,
that's the guitar playing. And then, but you got to remember, when I was like 11, it was all about Sum 41, Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park.
Yeah.
So I had that as well, but that wasn't. I didn't see that as that wasn't guitar music for me at the time. Guitar music for me was sort of like blues, classic rock.
Yeah.
So I learnt that, and it only like now do I go back and go, hold on a sec, like the Limp Bizkit and everything like that. Those riffs were amazing, like for the time. They were amazing. So I think I've always had sort of like songwriting wise, maybe not guitar playing wise, but songwriting wise, it's always been a little bit of the sort of pop punk and a little bit of the metal. What do they call it? Metalcore.
Yeah, metalcore.
I can't remember. Metalcore. Yeah. So I've always had just a mad range of influences. But yeah, guitar wise, Hendrix, and then it was Eddie Van Halen. And then I went to university, went to no lectures, and just stayed at halls in my uni house and just learned a lot of Van Halen songs from the first 4 albums.
Did you when David Lee Roth toured solo with Steve Vai? I
love Eat 'em Smile. Yeah. I love that album, Eat 'em Smile. So short and nice. Like our album sort of got a bit of flack for being a bit short, but my favourite albums are short. My favourite albums are just condensed quality.
Yeah, I watched David Lee Roth when he toured with Steve Vai, and I've never seen a bloke make it. Well, back in the 80s, to see a guy on stage making his guitar actually sound like it's talking was just mind blowing with his double guitar. It was just absolutely fantastic. Okay, you keep mentioning songwriting then. So are you a fairly prolific songwriter? Are you now writing songs because you didn't join the band? So I imagine at the start you've joined obviously for the second. Have you had any influence in the songwriting process or?
The reason I keep mentioning it because I just think Should Have Known Better is a really sort of song driven album. Like there was like I like for me I think I'm not falling out of love with guitar. I still love it, but it's just in terms of like guitar being like a sort of guitar athletics. Like I was never a shredder. I was never going to be someone who like shredded on guitar. So like I don't practice enough to actually be as good as any of the guys that you had mentioned. But so songwriting just became something that was more important to me. And what was the question you asked, sorry?
Did you have any input into the new album? Did you do any songwriting for the new album?
Yeah, I think so. I think I demo quite severely. Like some of the songs I've been sort of like tweaking and working on for years.
Right.
Some before I was even in Collateral. But yeah, I mean, I have a good input on the songwriting. I demo a lot of the stuff just on my own actually, because I like collaborating, but sometimes when you just want something to be so special, and it's a little bit sort of introvert, but it's like when you want something to just be so particular, just sometimes you write the groove. I'm very interested in relationship between bass and drums and groove, and then also guitar and bass. So a lot of times I'll demo stuff and I'll lay down like program drums, get the groove going, and then slap some bass on and try and get everything glued together, as opposed to like just writing riffs where like the bass does the same thing as the guitar. I'm not interested in that as much anymore. It used to be when I was a teenager, just learning like 80s rock and stuff, but these days it's more, I want to do something a bit more intricate, basically.
Well, it's that time of the interview where I have to hand over to Trish, because if I don't, she'll be WhatsApping me going, "Oi, oi."
It's my turn.
Trish.
Word in.
Trish.
Yeah.
So picking up from obviously the songwriting, what would your favourite track on the current album be?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, Teenage Dreams was one of the songs that was like, that I was mentioned earlier, that was worked on for years. And it started off very different, and then it sort of got to this thing. But it was good because that song, I knew when we were writing it, it was like, I don't really care if I don't want this to be like a single or something. So I wanted to, it turned out being quite progressive in the way that it just changes, just goes mad in the middle. And, you know, it's not by definition rock. It's got distorted guitars in it, but they're not doing anything you'd consider rocky until that middle section where it goes into like a Queen sort of double time thing. So I do like Teenage Dreams. Me and Ben, the drummer, we both love that song. I think Glass Sky was one that was written quite late on, because I had that riff, which was basically a combination of Lose Yourself by Eminem, and it's a little bit like that Dizzy Rascal song as well, the Calvin Harris Dizzy Rascal. No, not Bonkers. No, the If I'm Out on a Date, then I can that one.
Oh yeah, I know.
And also, playing around with sort of trying to make riffs sound different. There's that minor sixth which I used in Sin in the City as well, which is just a slightly different note than you'd really hear in typical rock music, and that worms its way into the Glass Sky riff. And then the chorus was just, what's a bouncy. Then that was where I'm talking about like writing the groove of a song as opposed to writing riffs. That chorus is just a groove. Like, it's all about the kick drum and the bass drum. The guitar's just doing sort of filling in, really.
I mean,
it's a little bit funky as well.
We listen to a lot of albums, a lot. It's 80 so far, it's 400 since we've started doing this 3 years ago. And obviously we have albums of the year, etc. as well. If I could make a short list of the best opening tracks to an album, Glass Sky would be right up there this year. I think so, because it set the tone. And I think it was the song I listened to that allowed me to then shortlist you in terms of the bands we were going to review that month. And it's a cracker. It's one of my favourite opening tracks of an album, and that I've heard this year so far. And it's made my cool playlist as well. So glad you said that. And Sin City, I really enjoyed Sin City as well, which is I thought was absolutely cracking track. So back to you, Trish.
What's the best advice that you've ever been given as a musician?
What's the best advice I've been given? I haven't been given any advice. That's the truth. I don't know. I think if I was going to give advice to any musician, a younger one, it would be learn like a woodwind instrument and play jazz. because realistically, like a rock band, you've got to take around, I've got like a 50-watt super lead and a 412 and drums and blah, blah, blah. If you play woodwind, jump on a train, drink as much as you want, you earn way much more money playing in jazz trios, quartets, whatever. And the work's constantly there. So from a financial point of view, woodwind, kids.
Okay.
Kids. Learn your jazz.
Jazz,
learn your jazz.
Go on, carry on, Trish.
Oh, thank you. What's your best show or tour you've ever played, and why was it so special to you?
But I think the best tour we've been on has definitely been with Heat. We did 5 or 6 shows with Heat. That was in 2022, because it was just like a holiday. We had the tour bus. We both bands on the tour bus. We sort of like snuck our way on. We were like, yeah, if we just chip in a bit, can we get on the tour bus? And they wanted to cut costs. Every band wants to cut as many costs as possible. So we chipped in for the tour bus, way less than we should have paid, but ended up being great because both bands got on really well. The tour bus touring life is a lot different to Travelodges and a really dirty old van. Because you can look. This is when we were a bit younger as well. I mean, this was 4 years ago. Sorry, no, it's only 2 years ago. I feel like I've aged about 10 years in the last 2 years. But you drink as much as you want, go to sleep when you want, wake up when you want. It's so much more relaxed touring with a tour bus. So that was great.
Was that the USA then? Was that a tour?
No, it was UK.
This was UK.
Yeah. Best gig? I don't know. Like sometimes it's just like. Someone like I was doing some sound work in London, and end up. So, what do you do? So, I play in a band. I do sound work, and then she goes, whereabouts have you played in London? Then and I was like, O2 Islington. So, no, actually, I played the Kentish Town Forum as well. Like, and you end up like forgetting that these like when you were like a kid, these like complete bucket lists venues. Yeah, we haven't done our own gig there, but we opened for Skid Row at O2 Kentish Town. That was pretty good because
wow.
Because it was, you know, a bucket list gig. O2 Glasgow with Skid Row, I think, was good. That was good. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything else that really stands out, but it's all good. They're all my favourite.
I enjoyed you at Nozfest.
Nozfest. Nozfest, yeah. That's one of my least favourites.
Because I was there.
No, not at all. It's a strange place to play music there, because we played there a few times.
Yeah, the 1865, it's quite a small venue.
Yeah, and they really rush you on stage there. And
100%. It was like on, off. Yeah.
I'm such a diva these days. I can't. I need like time to prepare, like warm up a little bit.
Yeah, you don't get that.
Like a few drinks. No, in Ozfest you don't get that. Talking of festivals, Stone Dead was pretty good. Stone Dead was really good.
Oh, okay.
Stone Dead.
Is that made stone?
No, that's made of stone.
Oh, made of stone.
That's next week. That's this week.
That's tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Yeah, I might go on Sunday to see Mr. Big.
Oh yeah.
Mr. Big playing. Oh, I'm literally reviewing their album next month, so I've just started listening to the album.
Raven Town are playing tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, friends with those guys. They're cool.
Yeah, Stu, Luke, Thomas.
Yeah.
So when did you, obviously Collateral be going, how long had been Collateral going then before you joined them?
I think, because I think it was formed as Collateral in 2018, 19, something like that. But before it was called Collateral, it was called the Angela Tristan Band. And that was like more of a local band. It was, you know, we were early 20s and I was playing guitar in that band. Then I left and then they got Todd in and that's when it was called Collateral. So I think, but with Angela Tristan Band, I think I joined that when I was in 2015, 14, I think. So I've been going a good while, but under a different name as well.
So do you feel that you're on a crest of a wave, that you're rising up there in terms of, because of everything that's gone on in terms of popularity? Do you feel that you are on the cusp of being a potentially big band, or do you still feel you're kind of still trying to push your way through that glass ceiling?
I think if you ask anyone that, they'll always downplay or just not even realise where they are, because I'm not really a social media guy. Like I don't look at how many likes things are getting and blah blah blah, which is ultimately, and also Spotify listens, which is how you gauge popularity these days. So if you ask me, same as what it was in 2015, but no, not really. It was, I think, look, I'm proud of the album. Like, I think doing something that you're completely proud of is one thing to check off, and that is it. I mean, it was a high production album. You know, we spent loads of money on it, which we'll never get back, unless it sells loads. Buy the album.
Buy the album right now.
And if not, stream it. But buy it and stream it. That's the best. That's the best of both worlds. But I don't know, yeah, of course we got a long way to go. You know, I mean we got another album to think about now, which is an absolute nightmare and a dream at the same time. But we'll see. I mean, you know, we need to live this album first and see what happens with it. It's still fairly new. You know, we're going to tour with Gun later this year, which is cool. We're going to do a few of our own headlined shows as well before the Gun tour, I think.
So when's the Gun tour? Let's get people excited for that. When's the Gun
tour? December. Can't remember. December.
And how does that come about in terms of, because I from what we understand in the music industry, you have to buy your way onto support act. Is that been the case with you, or you've been invited?
No, we've been invited. Paying to get on tours, that's I don't quote me on this, but I think that's for like when you're playing at Wembley's and stuff like that, because the amount of merch you can sell can kind of offset these things.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just. I mean, God help the bands that pay to get on tours.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, look, it might happen, but I mean, we don't have any money, so it's not going to happen now. But yeah, I mean, it's we got invited by Gun. We were invited by FM as well, which is the one we just did a few months ago. That was really cool. They were really nice guys, great team, and I think Gun have got a similar team, so it's going to be all good.
And where the gigs at? London, I presume, or
anywhere in the UK.
Right.
So 3 Scottish dates. Yeah, it's. I think it's pretty big. It's 3 or 4 Scottish dates, and it's just UK. I don't know if it's any Welsh dates. Yeah, we'll be playing a few shows of our own to sort of get to the places that the tour with Gun doesn't go to. Hopefully. Still in the process of booking all that stuff.
And will this all be on your website?
It will.
It will.
So, it should be.
So for our audience, what's your website? What's the website?
It's collateralofficial.com.
That's right. Everybody check it out. Check out the bio that they've kind of got from that perspective. So the plans are then. Is it just UK you're going to tour, or are you going to look to try to break into Europe, or are you just focusing domestically to where you're at?
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, we all want to play Europe, but the costs involved are absolutely insane, and you've got to be quite established. But it'd be great to open for a band in Europe at one point. I'm sure it will happen.
I just checked, and they're playing Southampton on 1st December.
Southampton, yeah.
I think we're going to have to book that, Trish. Okay.
You can need your ticket.
So what are you listening to at the minute? What new band, if other than Collateral, what's exciting you in terms of new bands at the minute? Anything in particular you listen, apart from White Raven Down, which we absolutely love and adore? Any bands out there that you go, oh, I like the sound of that you're getting into?
Well, at the moment, I'm mixing at the moment, so I'm not listening to like a lot of other music at the moment. Because I'm mixing a record for another band, and that's good. That's exciting me.
Oh.
A band called the Super Mix, and they're from Kent as well. But in terms of other bands, new bands, I don't know. Like I listen. I don't listen to a lot of modern rock.
No.
To tell the truth. But people that do excite me these days are Eric Gales. Eric Gales is like my. It was Jimi Hendrix, Eddie Van Halen, and then it was Eric Gales. And like Eric, every time I hear Eric Gales, I'm just like, I need. It makes me pick up a guitar straight away because I'm like, I need to learn.
Brown, brilliant album.
Yeah, we watched him. We watched him at the 1865 Club, and he was like, to see a man of his talent and ability in a gig like that was just like. Well, I think it was probably the best money we spent on a gig that year. It was phenomenally good.
Oh, it was so good. It was amazing.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to get with him as well.
Yeah.
He's insane. Like every note that he plays, I feel, and I cannot say that for many guitar players.
No.
You know, he's a one in a generation. Like if Joe Bonamassa is saying that you're the best guitarist in the world,
I was going to say Joe Bonamassa's in there. So
Joe Bonamassa is great as well. So
yeah, brilliant. Louis, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure to hear about you and your journey and the band's journey, and hopefully your continued success. It's been an absolute pleasure. So thank you very much for joining us. Everybody, check out their new album, check out the tour, check out the website. This is a seriously good band. Seriously good brand. So thank you very much, and if you like what you heard, hit the like and subscribe button, leave a comment for your support for Collateral, and thank you very much to our wonderful co-host to Trish tonight. Goodbye, God bless, take care, goodbye everybody.
Bye Nigel, bye Trish.